Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Anyway, so yesterday I was busy. Hey, Alex, go Cleveland. Now, for your information, I had the over in the game of 49, and so I just missed because of the two bullshit holding calls on Washington that weren't holding calls. Because one of them's a catch for 35 yards. I thought Penix didn't have time, and then the other one was pass interference that got called back because of the holding penalty. And how many holding calls were on Michigan? Oh yeah, none. So not a clean game. Again, the refs fucked up as usual. Penix looked fine. I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what game you watched. I watched the highlights. Penix looked fine. He had time. He threw the ball all over the place. My problem is that it's not a good playoff. The best two teams weren't in there, which are Oregon and Georgia. Michigan could not have beaten either of the teams. So they make it where, they're the champs. Yeah, you beat a crappy Alabama team, and Washington, you cheated them. So basically, I don't watch the game the way you watch it, Alex. And by the way, your password did not work. I tried it with a capital and a small, and it said the ID password didn't work. So I don't know. Michigan would not have beaten Oregon. They would never have beaten Georgia. Because Oregon's defense is different, right? Oregon's is a much better defense. Washington matched up to it with the throwing, but Michigan would never have run on it. And Georgia, forget about it. They wouldn't have had a chance. They barely beat Alabama, who wasn't close to Georgia. So Harbaugh, where is he going? To San Diego or Oakland? Good. I'll bet the under there. Michigan, the offensive coordinator who cried because they beat Penn State's going to coach? Okay. Now, what I don't understand is supposedly they're paying J.J. McCarthy $1 million to play at Michigan. Okay, so I have two problems with that. One, where are they getting the money? You better not be taxing me for that money. Two, you think the NFL just wants to lose their monopoly? Once they figure out what's going on and they're realizing, wait a minute, this is not amateur sports anymore. This is a professional league, college football. And they are competing and driving up salaries because if they're paying some idiot like McCarthy $1 million to stay, it's going to start 5 and 10 million, and they're going to have to go, no, I'm going to stay in college because they pay more than the pros. The pros aren't going to want that. They got the monopoly of setting everything. So this is going to end very soon. You don't fuck with the pros. Well, okay. I had Washington over and lost money. But I cleaned up on Sunday. So my lock, I forget what my lock was. I want to say, I think Kansas City under or somebody over, or Dallas maybe. You can't win them all, Gregor John. All right, so enough of that. Quite a fixed game. See, this is the problem. I saw the line go from 4.5 to 5.5, and I said the game's fixed when I saw that. There's no reason to bet Michigan there. Well, okay. What's your point? The fact of the game was the running of Michigan and the refs calling holding on Washington a couple times. They're not calling any holding on Michigan. They don't hold. So when Washington was driving, they got pulled back for holding calls. Defense, I would bet over offense, but that's why I bet the A teams, because they have the offense and the defense, like the 49ers. So you're looking for A teams, not under teams. So like Pittsburgh, they got defense. They don't have offense. They're going to run into an offensive team. They can't handle it. So you'll be careful there. So enough of this Michigan crap. I don't like talking about fixed games. So let's go to gold's at 2023, silver's at 22.92. But again, that's fantasy on Comex. Let's go to the line. Let's talk playoffs. What a pathetic playoffs this is, too. This is like the worst league I've ever seen. This NFL is terrible. So you got Cleveland, 2.5, 44.5. Over Houston, you've got 44.5 against Miami. Under. We've got Baltimore 10, 36.5, or Buffalo, I'm sorry, 10, 36.5. We've got Dallas 7.5, 50.5 to Green Bay. We've got the Lions 3, 51.5. That's your free play. Go over in that game. And it looks like the Porta is going to be out, the tight end. Not that that matters. Rams will win the game easy and should be high scoring. Philly 3, 43.5. I'm not sure how they're favored. Most of them are injured. Let's go through the weather now. So we didn't get 10 inches of snow, as you can see from behind me. It rained a lot. So let's go into the weather. If this is accurate, I'm not sure. Cleveland, Houston's in a dome. Questionable. Amari Cooper, Tolman, and Hopkins, the kicker, cures. Noah Brown and Robert Woods for Houston doesn't really matter. All he does is throw to Nico Collins in the backyard play calling. Oh, yeah, I'm going to run over here. You run over there, and not too good. Miami, Kansas City, questionable. Mozart, Hill, Waddle, questionable. Tony. So KC gets the better of that. 15-mile-an-hour winds and 9 degrees out. Yeah. Good luck, Miami. This is the problem when you have warm weather and you make them a passing team. They're fucked in the cold weather. what's Tagliabue going to do in 9 degree? What is it? 15 mile an hour, or 9 degrees. What you going to do? So we got Houston in a dome. 3 questionables. Waddle, Hill. Hill's been hurt because he keeps coming off the field. Waddle, he's Alabama. He won't play. And then Mozart, well, they got that Acme from A&M who's good. Problem is Tagliabue. See, if you watch Tagliabue throw, you go, oh, what a nice throw. He throws it nice and smooth. Problem is, who does he throw it to? He looks shitty against Buffalo. Threw a couple interceptions there. I didn't see anything from him, which I never do. Pitt, Buffalo, everybody's healthy for Pitt. And basically Gabe Davis, don't know who he is, questionable for Buffalo. Josh Allen, 27 mile an hour winds here. And we got 25 degrees. Yeah, so you're not going to see scoring in this game. 2 good defenses. It could snow, 75% chance, and cold and windy off the lake. You won't hit 20 points here. Green Bay and Dallas in a dome. You've got Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. Watson's been questionable with the hamstring for weeks. Dallas is healthy, but they got Dak Prescott. They wish he wasn't. I can't believe the KC game is on Peacock. Well, they're just ruining themselves. So basically, no problem in Dallas. And then we've got the Rams in Detroit in the dome. Williams sucks anyway. Laporta's questionable. Tyler Higbee's questionable, but Stafford and Williams and Kupp and Noka, everybody's healthy there. In a dome, so it doesn't matter. And Philly, Tampa, the whole Phillies team's hurt. This is 67 and 14 mile an hour winds. We've got Hurts questionable, Swift, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. Julio Jones is the only one that's healthy. You can believe that shit. Everybody's good for Tampa. Mayfield, whoever White is, Evans, and Godwin. Now, how strong is Tampa? Can Tampa take advantage of this terrible defense and pretty bad offense? Philly, I don't see them winning. I don't know why Philly's favored in the game. It makes 0 sense. Tampa should be a 3 to 4 point favorite. I know the Tampa coach is terrible. I'm beginning to wonder if the Philadelphia coach knows what he's doing. And what the fuck is Patricia doing as the defensive coordinator? Oh, my God. Matt Patricia, one of the worst coaches I've ever seen, is going to be the defensive coordinator. So, we've got our weather. So the games I've got to figure out is Cleveland, Houston, and Green Bay. That, and then we'll probably take Tampa as the dog. Probably. So Miami gets unlucky in the fact they have to play in 9-degree weather. But this is the problem with the coach. He's got his head up his ass. Now these are the same coaches the Rams and the Niners have, right? So the Rams can at least do it. They're in a dome. And the Niners, they're on the West Coast. They're going to get decent weather. The difference is the Niners have McCaffrey, so they can run. Again, they have balance. Balance beats a good defense because you don't know how to defend it. Now, most of these guys are idiots. They play the zone. Where the zone's basically you can throw underneath it and run these counter crossing routes all day. Little late lunch. Sorry about that. So Cleveland at Houston, interesting. I got an over team Cleveland, which gives up 25 a game. Last 6-7 games. I'm not counting last week when the teams really didn't try. I don't want to include them in my stats. So Cleveland an over 25 team against Houston, an even team with a 22 defense. Flacco against Stroud. Flacco's 80 years old? Stroud, Ohio State guy. Flacco's 13-8, but he played 5-6 games. Stroud 23-5. It looks good, but it's not productive. A lot of the throws are in the ground, or for some reason when they're getting sacked, they think they can just throw the ball. I don't know about where's the in the grass thing. So this will be interesting. You can't trust Stroud to win this game, and I can't trust Flacco to win the game, which makes me go to a total 44. I got an over team in Cleveland. So everybody thinks they get this great defense. Maybe. Houston doesn't run the ball. They got lucky to beat Indy because if the guy could have caught the pass, I don't know. I don't think he would have scored on the play. He might have, but they would have been first and goal at the 5-yard line against Indy. So, I like home dogs in the playoffs, especially with like a Cleveland who's not that they're okay. I don't know what to do with Flacco. He did good in the playoffs 100 years ago. Very odd. Gregor John. TK, Seattle might be parting ways with Pete Carroll, and Tennessee found their head coach. I'd be shocked if Seattle let Pete Carroll go. It's not his fault they don't have a quarterback. But he's getting old. No question about that. But the question is, like, the shitty teams, Washington, Carolina. If I was a coach and Carolina called, I'd tell them to go fuck off. I don't want anything to do with Steve Young and that. I mean, unless I could pick my players and not have interference from the fucking owner, which is usually the problem. Because I'd have to get rid of Steve Young and I'd pick up Bo Nix, Hartman, or Daniels from LSU or Penix. I mean, there's no. I heard one guy say oh, Penix is old and he's got knee problems. I'm like, hey, he's 24 years old, and yeah, name a quarterback who doesn't have knee problems or injury. He look. I mean, the funny part is he didn't look like he was old or had knee problems. In the Pac-10, beating Oregon twice, his knees look fine. I don't know what the fuck. Are you watching him play now? I hate that excuse. Then I heard another guy bitch that the Pac-10 doesn't play defense. And I'm like, oh, really? It shows how much you know. Oh, the Big Ten plays great defense. What are you talking about? The Big Ten has no offense, makes the defenses look better. Half their teams didn't score 25 points a game. And the Pac-10 had at least 5 teams under 20 with defense. Oregon, Utah, UCLA. So I really don't understand these people that just talk to hear themselves. You got to back it up with something. UCLA had a great defense. So did Arizona, and so did Oregon. Oregon would have beat Michigan pretty easily because Oregon could run the ball. They had that good runner and Bo Nix, and they couldn't have defended that. And their defense was much better at stopping the run. Michigan, the whole thing looked fixed that Georgia didn't show up. Georgia would have killed Michigan because Michigan would not have run the ball on Georgia. And that's all Michigan can do. It would have been a matchup nightmare. And same with Oregon. They had a very strong defense, much stronger than Washington's. So Michigan gets a weak Alabama team with a bad quarterback, and then they get a not great against the run team, Washington. So it was planned. I mean, it's pathetic. How Georgia and Oregon were not in the playoff is disturbing. And then Michigan's a champ. Okay, go play Georgia, and if you beat Georgia, I'll let you be the champ. Not now. You're number 3. Georgia, Oregon, Michigan. Yeah, it's bullshit. Well, Georgia, the thing is, Georgia could win in the NFL playoffs, right? Georgia would beat half these teams. Give me Georgia. What? They'd kill Cleveland. They'd kill Houston. They'd kill Miami. Probably beat Kansas City because they can't do anything. Pittsburgh, they're better than Green Bay. And Tampa Bay. And then maybe Philly because I don't know what's going on with Philly. Well, I think Hurts got injured. See, all this pushing and shoving and running, Hurts is catching up to him. He's getting hurt now. And then you can see you can't throw the ball. So that's what's happening. But it's definitely a tainted championship. I didn't watch it. Alex gave me his code. His code didn't work. Gave me a bad password or something. But I just watched the highlights. I didn't care. I can't listen to Herb Kirkstreet for 5 minutes, so I couldn't. I would have to watch the game mute. Okay, so let's go through NFL. So as I said, Cleveland an over team with a 25 defense. That means they score a lot and they give up a lot. Houston, an even team, so they score 22, they give up 22. Normally I like the dog here. If Houston was favored, I love Cleveland. Cleveland's favored. I don't love Houston. Here's where I get confused. 44 in a dome. Stroud 23-5. Not really good for an over. I want a quarterback who's going to turn the ball over so I can get some easy interceptions. Flacco 13-8. I'm going to get that from Flacco. I think this is a high-scoring game. I don't know what Myles Garrett does. I'm sure he'll sack Stroud 3 or 4 times. Uh, I don't know. Now, Alex has the contrary view that Stroud's good. Okay, prove it. So you go ahead and beat Cleveland at home and do it like a Joe Montana would, and I'll trust Stroud. Until then, I don't trust him. You can't just trust him because he looks good against New England or something. Right? He thinks Houston's a good team. Okay. If you're a good team at home, as a home dog in a playoff game, you should win the game. You're a good team. Problem is, they've never been there before with a quarterback who's never won before, never won in college. See, at least Joe Montana won games. He beat USC, won a national title. Stroud couldn't beat Michigan twice. So this is a guy that can't win a big game, and now you're asking him. And, yeah, he threw for a lot of yards at Georgia, but who won the game? Oh, yeah, Georgia won the game. So he hasn't won a big game. 0-2 against Michigan, lost to Georgia in the only playoff game. So I'm not thinking this guy's a winner. Unless we forget, that's why we bet. I don't care that Tagovailoa throws a pretty pass. What I care about is in a big game, he folds up. He chokes. If he was really good, they're allowing 21-14 to Buffalo at home. And what's he do? He throws an interception. You know, Montana and Brady, they drive the team down and would have scored a touchdown. That's why he's fake. He looks good until the pressure's on, and then he folds up. So Miami, KC, Miami, the over team. Again, they score 30, give up 25. KC's an under team. They don't score, but they have a killer defense, a 21 defense. You got Tagovailoa. Now, I've added the quarterback stats here. Tagovailoa, 29-14 against Mahomes, 27-14. Pretty even. A lot of interceptions. You've got 9 degrees and 15-mile-an-hour winds. This game will be lucky to get to 20. They played before. KC won 21-14, and they won't get that many. There's nothing wrong with Mahomes. The problem with KC is they don't have any receivers. So they double-team Kelsey. He's got nowhere to throw. They're going to run Pacheco or Chocolate Eclair, one of the two. And that'll be it. So Miami, what do? They don't do anything. I don't know if they'll score in this game. The weather's going to bother them, first of all. Secondly, he's got everybody injured. Tyreek Hill, he ain't going to do anything in 9-degree weather. Tyreek Hill's speed is gone. Waddle, Alabama guy playing in Florida, ain't going to do anything in 9-degree weather. And Mozart probably won't play. They'll use Acne from A&M, who, KC's got a very strong defense. So, according to Gregor John, here's where I'll take the defense over the offense. I got a strong defense going against a weak defense. Going against supposedly a strong offense, but they only scored 14 on Buffalo, who's a 20 defense. So this should be similar to the Buffalo game. Only with the weather, forget about it. So KC at home, they're used to the playoffs. They're used to going to the Super Bowl. Mahomes will find a way. They'll probably get a bunch of field goals. It'll probably be 16-7 or something like that. So that's what I look for. So it's a 4-44, 9 degrees. I mean, you just I don't know how you take Miami as a dog. You can take KC as a favorite. There's no way Miami's winning this game. And you got to go under because of the weather. So pick your poison. Now, Greg and John, I give you 2 options always. Since you don't buy the picks, you don't know what I'm doing. I went over in the Washington game. I didn't take Washington. I thought they'd win, but the better bet was over. And the same thing here. Do I have KC or do I have the under? You don't know. But that's how I kind of like the game. I don't see Miami winning this game. Not with Tagliabue against Mahomes. There's no way. All right, Pitt and Buffalo. Pitt's an under team with an 8 team with Kyle Rudolph. Rudolph is 3-0. 3 touchdowns, no picks in 2 games? Buffalo, 8 team. They score a lot, 20 defense. Josh Allen, 29 touchdowns, 18 picks. 2 of the worst picks I ever thought. I saw last week. I thought I was watching Super Bowl III. I thought it was Earl Morrall throwing these lame ducks because the game was fixed and they had bet on the Jets. The Baltimore owner in 1968 put $1 million on the Jets. The Baltimore owner. And they wanted the Jets to win because they wanted to merge the leagues. So the game was all fixed. And you could see it. I mean, the guy threw 5 picks at the 10-yard line. He'd throw it really hard. It would hit a guy in the helmet. He was aiming for the helmet. I mean, what a joke that was. And that's what I thought I was watching last week. The 2 interceptions from Josh Allen were so bad. It was embarrassing. I mean, he threw it to it. There was no Buffalo receiver within 10 yards, and he throws it right to the Miami guy. Twice. I mean, what the fuck are you doing? So this was definitely a fixed game last week, fixed to the under because it was obvious an over game. And Buffalo did win by 7. I think they covered, but absolutely a terrible, such an obvious fix. You got to be careful with these games. They're getting more and more fixed. As you get the FanDuel and the BetMGM associated with the leagues, you're going to get a lot more fixed games. So keep that in mind. So that was definitely fixed. Here, you got 25 degrees and 27-mile-an-hour winds with the Buffalo team. Now, yeah, J.J. Watt's out or T.J. Watt's out. Okay, matters a little. Maybe it's just to the linebacker. Buffalo's playing strong defense. This will be a lot of running. You got 27-mile-an-hour winds. You're not throwing the ball. So this will be another low-scoring game like the KC due to the cold weather and the high winds. So don't expect this. And Buffalo and Pitt's not going to score a lot anyway. Green Bay, Dallas. Green Bay, even team, score 22, give up 24. Not a really great defense. Dallas, the A team with the 20 defense. Love, 32-11 against Prescott, 36-9. I think Prescott leads with the most touchdowns because Mahomes only has 27. So he's got 36-9. Looks good. He throws a lot to CeeDee Lamb. Dallas, the better team, better offense, better defense. Prescott, at least, he's there every year. He chokes. Love, there's no way Love's winning this game. This is when you get shit quarterbacks. You think he's going to go on the road and win in a playoff game. It ain't going to happen. They won't be able to cover CeeDee Lamb. Green Bay doesn't have anything. Aaron Jones. He got Love, 32-11. I don't think I'm really scared of him. And I do love Micah Parsons. So you got Dallas 7.5, 50. So let's break that down. We got a 24 defense in Green Bay, but we got Micah Parsons. What do we do there? So I hit the nail on the head with the Washington game. The 38 defense and 35 defense, they hit 38-10 or something like that. What was the score last week? 38-10 with the 34 defense. Nailed it. I think I called 35-7. So in here, there's no way Dallas gets 30. This will be more like 24-10. I'll figure out the score in a little bit. Trend on Dallas. 14-1 home favorite, because I can use last year's too, because it was Prescott and McCarthy. Your biggest problem with Dallas, McCarthy, terrible. Prescott, interceptions. Green Bay, the problem is Love. They just, I think Dallas had a close call with the Lions. And I just, with Green Bay, okay, Green Bay beat Detroit. Give them credit, at Detroit. They've won some games, but, I mean, I don't really count the Minnesota or Chicago as big wins against bad teams. Dallas did what they needed to. They went to Washington and won. So they won a big game. They needed it for the 2 seed. Give them credit. We're only laying 7 here. Would you take Green Bay in 13? So here's the logical way to play teasers. Greg, Bryce Young is not that good. Steve Young's terrible. He wasn't that good at Alabama, to tell you the truth. So you've got Dallas 1.5. They should win the game. Is Love going to be? You got the better defense with Parsons, and I think Love's just going to get. He's going to get 4 or 5 sacks from Parsons. He's going to throw his couple of interceptions. Prescott will give you a couple of interceptions. You're in a dome, so you don't need to worry about the cold weather. Excuse me. You got a 20 D. I just think Dallas they got a better offense, better defense at home. They got experience. Green Bay, Love's never been in a playoff game. He looked good against the Lions. I'll give him credit for that, Thanksgiving. But if you look at the Lions secondary, it's totally sucks. I mean, they gave up a bunch of yards to CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson twice, Green Bay, the Bears. That's really not where you test it out at. But, last week against the Bears was a good win. They needed it 17-9, Field sucked. Holding Fields to 9 is not a big deal, although it surprised us. But anyway, can Green Bay in 13.5 win? Do you think Dallas wins close? Do you think Green Bay – the only way you can take Green Bay as a dog is you think Green Bay is going to win. And to win, they need a 17 defense. They need to be the Niners. They need to be Baltimore. You need to have that tight defense. That's how you win. You don't win with offense. You win with defense. Ask Dan Marino and Dan Fouts and the boys, right? How many Super Bowls they win? Oh, yeah, none. Because at the end of the day, it's the defense that wins. So I got to go defense here with Dallas. I can't trust Love. I can't trust Prescott, but I trust Micah Parsons. So I like Dallas and -1 there. Detroit, LA. LA is an E team with a 22 defense. A little bit skewed because Stafford missed a few games. Detroit with the over team. They score a lot and they give up a lot. 27, they have no defense. They have no secondary. They will not get a pass rush in. This is your free play, is go over in this game. You can also take the Rams at 9, but I like the over. 51, I go over 45 is 28-20. I'm a winner. The Rams are going to just torch the secondary. I mean, they're going to make CeeDee Lamb and Jefferson look like high school kids when not only do you have the coach, I can see him, but I can't call him. What's his name? I don't know. The Ram coach. Really good offensive mind. They're going to torch the defense, the secondary. Talk about matchups. Not only are the Lions going to have a trouble sacking Stafford, but they're not going to be able to cover Cooper Kupp. That ain't going to happen. And they're really not going to be able to cover Puka. Great running back. This Williams guy rushed for like 1,500 yards. And by the way, oh yeah, Aaron Donald plays defense for the Rams. Don't forget him. Stafford against Goff. Stafford, 24 touchdowns, 11 picks. Again, he missed some games, which is why they're an E and not an A, is because those other games, they didn't score a lot. Goff is 30-12, respectable. But that's not their problem, is the offense. Now, you're going to lose the tight end. Is that a big deal? Probably not. They got that St. Brown guy and St. Cloud or whatever. They got the running attack. Montgomery seems to be gets the 2 and 3 yards, maybe near the goal line. I'd rather have that Williams from last year. And then the rookies, Alabama guys. So I don't see how Detroit's defense is going to stop the Rams, right? The Lions played Seattle early in the year. They couldn't stop Geno Smith because of Metcalf and the other guy. Fuck. I want to say Locke. No, it's Lockett. So Lockett and Metcalf just went up and down the field. 37-31 Seattle, and I see that's about the same score. The Rams are a very live dog. They won a Super Bowl. Stafford won a big game. He played for the Lions, so he's got revenge on his mind. Goff has revenge on his mind, but Goff's so bad it doesn't matter. Goff is the choker here, not Stafford. So look for Goff to choke. Look for the better defense, the Rams. Better offense, the Rams. The fact it's in Detroit won't matter. So I think it's the 22 defense with Aaron Donald against the 27 defense. Oh, by the way, they don't have a secondary and any good receiver. Jefferson was 200 yards twice. Even the Mullins threw for 400 yards a couple weeks ago, and I think 400 yards last week. And and then CD Lamb, I think Prescott threw for 400 yards. So this is a Civ defense. This is why I like the over a little bit more than I like the Rams at 9. Not that I don't like the Rams at 9. So Gregor, you can go either way in this game, but the free play is over because I think Detroit can score a little bit on them, but I don't. They're not going to stop the Rams. All right, they're just going to go up and down the field between Stafford to Cooper Kupp to Puka and the running back. I don't know that they'll punt in the game, and they're going to score. They won the Super Bowl, so they know what they did. So that's really the key to it. Again, I'm betting the better defense and the better offense, which is the Rams in this game. Sort of like Dallas. The better team, Dallas, they've got experience. And the same thing here. By the way, the Rams have won a Super Bowl. The Lions last were in the playoffs in 1993 or something like that? No, it was a few years ago. They just haven't hosted a playoff game like that's a big deal. It's not going to affect the Rams. They're not hosting the game. So go over in that. That's your free play. This will be high scoring. This will be a 60-point game easily. And then Philly-Tampa. We got an over team in Philly who scores a bunch normally. I don't know what happened last week. And they give up 28. They gave up 28 to the fucking Giants. We did win the over last week on the last minute field goal by the Giants. Philly didn't show up. They quit. Hurts has got a bad finger. Swift is questionable. The receivers are questionable. Darius Slay's out. And more importantly, you have Matt Patricia as the defensive coordinator. You've got a moron as your defensive coordinator. I don't see how Philly can win the game, and yet they're favored by 3. Tampa's an under team. So they scored 19-20, give up 23. Yeah, they got a decent defense. I don't think it's great. It's not a Dallas or an LA defense. The winner of this game, that's one and done. Tampa certainly can't beat Dallas, LA, or San Francisco. That's never going to happen. Again, Philly with the 28 defense, Tampa with the 23. Hurts, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. That's huge. Mayfield, 28-10. So we got to give the edge to Mayfield. Now, the last 2 games were in a dome, Dallas and Detroit. This game is out. It's 14 miles an hour. It'll be warm out. I think the live dog here, being at home against a team that doesn't have a defense, over under 44. I think you got to go over. I don't know how you can play this game under. It's going to be good weather. You've got a 28 defense on a team that scores 30 a game. Now, they're questionable, but they'll all play. Don't fuck yourself around going they're not. They're all going to play. Hurts has a hurt finger. I don't know what is it, his throwing hand or not. And the other cast of characters. So, but their defense is going to suck. So Mayfield, I don't know what happened in this 9-0 game. I'll have to watch the highlights. How Tampa could only beat Carolina 9-0, but they got the win and they're in the playoffs. Now, I don't trust Mayfield at all. He's no Tom Brady. Give me a break. So can I trust Tampa at 9? Can Mayfield pick apart this terrible defense? That's the question. Over under a 44, you think Philly's going to score in the 20s, and then Tampa should be right there. Should be a close game because there's no defense on the field. So Mayfield 28-10 gives me a little thing. Well, the teaser trends. There really aren't any. There's Dallas is a home favorite and Tampa is a home favorite. In the teaser, if you play, Tampa's 14-3, Dallas is 14-3, and Baltimore 14-3 this year. So if you just look at the 17 games and you look at the totals, so no matter if they're home or road, favorite or dog, those 3 teams are 14-3. The play against team is Philadelphia 14-3. And Kansas City 15-2. Kansas City's got Miami. So it means Miami might hang around, but I think it'll be a low-scoring game. Something like 17-10 or something. Do I like – well, no. As I've said, I look at the game from all 4 angles. The favorite, the dog, and the over and the under. And a lot of it is the totals are much easier. Look at last week. Oakland under, Kansas City under, San Francisco under, Baltimore, Pitt under. And they're all easy winners. The only one I missed on was the Buffalo Miami because of the stupid interceptions by Josh Allen. Now it's just it's really hard. First of all, you got to trust the quarterbacks, which you can't trust because they're all so bad. You can trust Mahomes, you can trust Burrow, you can trust Aaron Rodgers, you could trust Brady, Montana. Okay, so let's go. Can I trust Flacco or Stroud? Can I trust Tagliavoa? No. Mahomes, yes. Can I trust Ruloff or Allen? No. Can I trust Love or Prescott? Absolutely not. Stafford and Goff, I think I can trust Stafford here. I know I can't trust Golf. And then Hurts and Mayfield, I can't trust either of those. So when you're betting to pick a team, you got to be able to think they're going to win, right? And the only one I can think are going to win are Dallas and the Rams. So I could go with those picks versus the over. But when I look at the Lions, pretty high scoring offense with no defense, much like Miami, much like Cleveland, it's far easier to just, oh, they're going to score a lot and they'll probably give up, like the Lions. They're going to score and they're going to give up a ton to the Rams passing offense and good running. It's the absolute, see, so when I talk about Michigan getting lucky not to play Georgia or Oregon is because they would not have been able to run on Georgia and Oregon. They got the perfect matchup with Washington, not the great running defense that Oregon and Georgia are. That's why they weren't in the playoffs. This was all about letting Michigan win, and then Harbaugh's going, and they paid him off and everything else. So this is disgusting, Michigan winning. However, with like I said, had they played Oregon or Georgia, forget it. They wouldn't have scored against Georgia, and they would have pounded their defense. Not a problem. But I probably would have played the Michigan Georgia game under because they were not scoring on Georgia. But they got lucky; they didn't have a strong run defense. So it's about matchups. The Rams against the Lions. There's no secondary. Stafford's going to go like 28-31 for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns because they can't stop them. They couldn't stop CeeDee Lamb. They couldn't stop Jefferson with Nick Mullins. You got Stafford here, who's won a Super Bowl finally, but this is sweet revenge for him. Because he got booed a lot because they blamed him for losing because the Lions never had a defense. You don't win in the playoffs without a defense. So if I can see a Detroit Ram game and I see this matchup problem of Detroit and I see Stafford's going to light them up and I see Detroit with a strong offense, I know there'll be points. So what am I going to do? Now I could take the Rams at 9, which is probably a good bet. Or I could go over 45. And when I look at it, it's even a better bet. So I'm looking at all 4 ways, and I've determined I can't play Detroit. It's either the Rams at 9, and I certainly am not going under against the team with a 27 defense. I can maybe go under because of Aaron Donald, but I figure Detroit will score, which makes it a over game or a Rams game. So you could go either way. I'm saying go over. It all depends on the game. Now, I can see taking Dallas -1. Maybe I take Tampa 9 if I trust them. I have no idea Cleveland, Houston, so I'm going to probably go to an over-under. And Miami, Kansas City, I'm going to go to an over-under because it's 9 degrees out and 15 mile an hour. I certainly can't trust Tag. He's going to throw 3 or 4 interceptions. I can trust Mahomes, but it's so cold and they haven't been scoring that it's a better under. So, it all depends. I had Dallas -7 last week because Washington was a Z team with a 34 defense, and I knew they were going to score. I mean, that was an obvious one. So I think Dallas -1 might be better than over or under because it's a 50. I got Micah Parsons. I might want to go under Dallas. I don't know. So if you're torn where you can't really figure the game out, but there's high scoring or low scoring, like Pittsburgh, can't really figure the game. I know Rudolph, he's terrible. They got a pretty good defense, though. Buffalo, really good defense. And I don't know Josh Allen with his picks, and it's cold and it's windy. A 27 mile an hour wind just takes you to the under. Why would you play it? And then it's -10. Well, that's a high number. Maybe -6. I can go even with Buffalo. I could do that. But a -10, lane 4, they could win by 3 easily. But I know it's going to be low scoring. So you look at the game, you figure it out, you figure the scores, and then you go team A or B, over or under. And then you decide on the best way. So There is no. It's part of figuring out the games, like playing poker. You're figuring out the player. You're figuring out the betting. You're figuring out your hand. You figure out the flop, and that's what you do. So once you're figuring it out, then you determine what's the best way to play. And here, I'm figuring it out. I'm solving the riddle. That's what I do. That's why I'm successful at this, because you're looking at the riddle. I was shocked. Well, I only missed the Michigan over by 2 points. Like I said, I got fucked twice on offensive interference on Washington. One, it was a 30-yard completion, so they're going to kick a field goal. I win the over. The other result of 15 going in, I would have for sure scored there and gotten the over. So I got fucked with this offensive interference, which the refs want to call now. So again, but I only missed by 2 points. So what are you going to do? Yeah, I like Jimmy the Greek. Jimmy the Greek couldn't give picks, but he'd give hints. So if you watched him on CBS, right, there'd be the Greek's Grapevine, I believe it was called, and he'd go through the games and team speed. Now, I don't know how he clocked the guys, right, but he would do all these checklists, and then he'd come up and he says, well, the team would be a 10-point favorite. I think the game's going to be like this. So he's telling you bet the dog. But I loved him. He sounded good. The way he sounded and what his knowledge, you could tell. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. Tragic story, though. He gets fired because of some stupid comment that we became woke on already back in the 80s. And it broke his heart because he loved the job, and then he just died from the broken heart because he couldn't do it anymore. Now he would just do what I'm doing, have his own little show, and off he goes. But yeah, that was good. So that's how you break it down. So the tough games, Cleveland, Houston, because I know nothing about either of them. Houston looked terrible beating Indy. Cleveland, I have no idea who they are. I know Joe Flacco sucks. He's 13-8 in the 3 or 4 games. I know Myles Garrett. I know they don't have any running, so I don't know what Cleveland is, and really how their defense is a 25. I thought it was much better. They've been playing high scores. Stroud will run around and play his circus offense, where he just bails out of the pocket, and the receivers bail with him, and he gets lucky to hit somebody. None of the plays are by design. It's a joke. So I see, I don't know, 25 defense, 22 defense. Can Stroud get enough offense is the question. And Flacco, what's he going to do? So I really don't know these teams. I can maybe try to figure it out. But Houston's always weak defense. Then they're trying to make the coach was a San Francisco defensive coordinator. Bullshit. The guy in the Jets was the one that designed the 49ers. This guy just happened to fall into it like the New England guys. I didn't see the 49er defense out there last week against Indy. And offensively, I don't want to hear them because his comments, I don't want to be taken in by them, right? So this is where it's key. You have to ignore all he says because you have to make your own determination what you see, right? I can look at Stafford and golf, and I see the Lions, and I see the Rams, and I can make my own determination. And I can't make my own determination. They're never on TV. This is the first time they're on TV. And what I saw in that game was pathetic. Both teams sucked from my standpoint. He has a hard time understanding my standpoint. He wants to be biased because he lives in Houston. Well, I don't give a fuck about Detroit, and I don't give a fuck about Michigan. The fact I live here is totally meaningless because what I do, I can't take sides. I'm totally independent. I just see it, and I go, yeah, They look good. They look like shit. Philadelphia was good. No offense. They lose a few guys. They bring on Patricia. When you fire your defensive coordinator for Patricia, you're in big trouble. I don't see how they blow out Tampa. And I don't see how this is a low-scoring game at 44. So to answer Greg and John's question, do I take the 9 or do I go over 38? Which I'm not really sure. Bobby Bo, how you doing? I did a 43-hour fast that ended yesterday at noon for my foot. I really ate bad over the holidays. And the problem was I ate bad Christmas, and then here was New Year's, and I'm eating a pizza, and I'm eating a pie, and I'm eating ice cream, and it's like, oh, it's the holiday. It's the holiday. It's New Year's, da-da-da-da-da. And my gout came back, so now I'm back to, so I did a good 43-hour fast, which I keep trying to get you on, so your little guy inside will clean you out, and that's what you want. So my foot's a little bit sore, but not bad. Washington got embarrassed, very disappointed. Well, the refs were paid off. The 2 holding penalties. Now, I saw the highlights. I didn't see the game. The 2 holding penalties were a joke. I mean, it's not that there was holding. It's when you call it. So it's a long pass they call holding, and it's for 35 yards, and the guy catches it. It was a great pass, great catch. Then on the – so, again, on these third downs is when the refs are calling the penalties. He hits them. He was hitting wide open receivers all night from what I could see on the highlights. I knew they couldn't run, but they were smart enough to throw short passes, screen passes all day to slow the rush down. Their problem is stopping the run. And that one interception, the guy ran it back to the 1-yard line. I was shocked Washington didn't score more after what they did to Oregon. And I was really pissed when people say that Pac-10 doesn't have defense. Well, Oregon and UCLA and Utah are as good as you get. Washington was a bad matchup for Michigan because they don't really stop the run like Oregon. And like if Michigan would have played UCLA, they wouldn't have had it. They wouldn't have scored. They'd have been shut out. Probably like Amsterdam better than Michigan, but they don't have a football team. Well, that's unfortunate, but they don't need a football team in Amsterdam as long as they got the red lights. Oh, yeah, that's correct. Those were horrible calls, especially the first one. Well, and it's not only that it's a bad call, it's when they call it, right? And it was a great catch, but you lose the momentum. But Michigan, did they even get a penalty called on them? I don't know. I didn't watch the game, but it didn't even affect the play, and the defender just fell forward untouched. There's a lot of fall. What are they called in soccer? The dives. There's a lot of dives that they're doing now because the refs don't see it, but if the guy falls down, they assume he got pulled down, so that's holding. It's such bullshit. I mean, they really need to let most of the holding go. It's just you're trying. How do you want me to block you, right? It's so stupid. You want to see the block because you want to see the nice passes and everything. But one guy is trying to say Penix isn't good. Oh, he's too old. He's got bad knees. Well, he looked pretty fucking good against Oregon twice, and against Washington State, and against UCLA. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Penix should be your top. Again, it's Caleb and Drake. Why is Drake May even up there? What the fuck are you looking at? How is he different than Pickett and these guys? What are you, insane? Daniel Jones? Yeah, he was a great pick. What are they looking at that makes Drake May look any good? I don't get that at all. And then that damn running back dropping the easy pass right in his hands in the fourth quarter on the third down. They needed that. Yeah, that was unfortunate. But, I mean, Michigan it was a joke. The first 2 touchdowns were a joke. Like there wasn't any holding on those plays. Oh, really? So that's really the problem. It's the Washington run defense was not as good. Like I said, Oregon or Georgia destroys Michigan, right? It's not even a game If they played Oregon, Oregon would have killed them. And if they played Georgia, Michigan would have got shut out. They would have run the ball because they can't throw, and they got the right matchup against a Washington defense. Even against Alabama, they had all sorts of trouble. And Alabama's not a good team this year. Yeah, they beat Georgia. That was bullshit. I think Georgia laid down and thinking they were going to get in the playoff because they were the number one team. So how are you the number one team? You lose by 3 to Alabama, and all of a sudden you're not even in the playoff. And Florida State too. If Michigan would have played Florida State, they would have got shut out. That defense was incredible. So they got a lucky draw in the fact Alabama had no quarterback and the fact that Washington you could run on. So again, it's matchups. I don't think Penix looked too bad, just missed 1 or 2, but was under a lot of pressure, but he wasn't that bad, just missed opportunities. Well, and then when he did hit it, well, they called him for holding. That's Penix made some great passes there. I just don't take the Ducks seriously in big games. Well, they did choke to Washington in the first game. That was their coach. But yeah, maybe, I don't know. I don't like their coach. I think these guys with the 4th down should all get fired. You can't just go like you got the ball at the 5-yard line. It's 4th down. There's 10 seconds before half, and you're not kicking the field goal. You got to be you're goodbye. If I'm the owner of a team or a GM, and I hire a coach and he does that shit, he's gone. And I would tell him in the interview, you go for 4th down. When it's not appropriate, you're getting fired. No, there's no thought. You do that shit, you're fired. He cost him the first Washington game by going for it at the midfield. Didn't make it, and then Penix looked pretty good there, throwing two passes, touchdown in 20 seconds. I used to love Oregon, but they cost me my money in the past, so I am still mad at them. Well, I agree with that. Well, I know the Auburn game and a few of the other games because they ran that ridiculous offense that nobody had seen. Now everybody runs it, and it doesn't work now. Well, that's why I like Georgia. Georgia gets you the money. They got the big defense, which is what you need. So you feeling better, Bobby Boa? Everything's okay? My foot's pretty good. I got Daria's teeth fixed, so she's all happy that she can eat now. She had 2 teeth. She needed 2 implants here, and then she needed 2 implants there. So she just went to the dentist Monday and got them taken care of. She says, "Oh, I'm so happy I can eat in peace now." And that's what makes you feel good is you help her on her teeth. Something like that, the simple things that we take for granted. And that made me really happy that now she can eat. Well, that's why, to me, Michigan did not win the title. They didn't beat Georgia. On one side, she got 2 implants. I have crowns because that's what you used to do, and I got a bridge here. I don't have any implants. I guess in Russia, Romania, and these cities, they put implants in. As a pub, maybe they're cheaper than crowns. I don't know. So I guess they pull the teeth, and then I don't know what an implant is. I guess they put it into the bone, and then the teeth's on top. Anyway, so she got 2 like a year ago, and then she just went Monday. So these 4 teeth are now implants. And so now she's not in pain when she eats. So I felt good for her there and was happy that, I could help her. I says, "What's next? Is that it for the teeth?" So, yeah, she's fine. Well, crowns, I care. So the teeth gets cavities in it to the point where it's basically gone. And so the root's still there, and then they put the crown, they put the crown over the tooth. So it's now you're eating on the crown and it's gold. So not only is it's good, it's worth a lot. So yeah, it's a double, but yeah, it's not well, I guess it's kind of a cap, but it the tooth's kind of you've cavitied out the tooth. So to save the tooth can't be saved, so they just crown it. Yeah, so I don't know what a cap is, but it's sort of a cap, a gold cap, I guess. Pete Carroll just got fired. Wow, that's ridiculous. Thank you, Greg and John. Well, he vampired a little bit before, but now we've got him calm down. Well, yeah. Now, quickly changing stories. So today I ran to the gold store and got 2 more Canadian dimes. These are the 10th. These were $233 each. The U.S. were $250. So this is why we buy Maple Leafs. It's 1/10 of an ounce of gold. It's 1/10 of an ounce of gold. Why does this one look bigger? Yeah, they're both the same. So I went there, and he had some Cougar. I'll show you. Again, I was going to buy the silver. I just didn't like the way the silver looked. So this is what he had today. So these Eagles were 23 or 21.30. Gold's 20.28. So these were 21.28 for the Eagles. And then he's got, I didn't get his price on the Cougar ends. And then he has all these dimes. So I took the two of the 4 Maple Leafs. And he's still 250 on these for some reason, but he's 230 on those. And then these, I stay away from these little gold bars, although I'm sure his are good. So what I got, I haven't taken a picture yet of these. So I got these 2. So it's almost a 1/4 ounce, but I don't care. And when it goes through the roof, I'm going to want these because, okay, gold's 50,000 an ounce. I get 5,000 a piece on that. Maybe I only want 5,000, or I only need it. And it's certainly easy when I fly to Switzerland that I can put those in my wallet and nobody's going to know shit. So there's a method to my madness on that too. Now, these are supposedly like uncirculated if I keep them in this plastic. This comes right from the mint. You know how I like to put it in these. So I don't know what to do. I really don't care that they're uncirculated because I'm buying 1/10 of an ounce of gold, but I might leave it in there for now. But so that was my fun day. He still has these silver, they're US, but they look like crap on the back. He can't get the Eagles or the Buffaloes in anymore. He does have the Liberties at 30 an ounce, the silver. So he had those, but there's no reason to buy them. So I've got enough of the other. I'd rather buy so this was 230, 233, 234 a piece. So this together was 468. Or I could have bought the silver. 20 ounces of silver would have run me 500. They're 25 an ounce, so that would have been 250 for 10. So it's either 10 ounces of silver or this. And I'd rather buy gold because I got so much silver. It's hard to get more silver if they have the gold out there. If they don't have the gold, I can easily buy more silver. And they're keeping it at 25. But so that was fun going there today. Well, I'm sure Pete's a smart guy. I would hire Pete in a minute. Yeah, those are from today's coin store. I went there. I got my hair cut this morning, and I just had this itchy feeling. I saw gold down a few dollars, and I know they go off of paper gold. So I'm like, okay, perfect. And so I, again, looked what he had. Yeah, this was this morning. So I got the two. And then I went swimming. So now I'm all set. After my 43-hour fast yesterday, I'm like just so hungry. But my foot is a lot better. It's funny. It went from the heel to the side. And then yesterday it was the underpad. So it was really hard to walk. I couldn't, I had to walk on like here. And then today it's now a little bit on the top of my foot. I don't get gout. Why does it move all around in your foot? It's almost like there's a gate that opens up where all the needles are, and then the next gate closes up. No, can't go here. Why can't it just go? It's like it's fucking crazy. So hopefully this is the end of it. But it really started to happen Saturday. Went to the pool. Sunday I didn't go anywhere and watched all the football. And then I think I went Monday, and then what's today? Well, I don't even know what day it is anymore. I think it's Wednesday. Alex had to go to a customer meeting, missed out on the talk about how Michigan punched Washington in the mouth. What is the difference from circulated and uncirculated? So uncirculated, this is uncirculated because the mint prints it, and then you can see they put it in this pouch and it's sealed. So this has never been touched by human hands. So it's uncirculated as far as circulation in the population. So the circulated ones have been out and touched. So it's really being touched. So this is uncirculated because it's still in the pouch. I don't really care that much. Proofs tend to be a little more expensive, but we're buying the gold for the gold. We're buying it for the price and really to get out of money or to get out of whatever you want to call the dollar. That's why we're getting out of it, but we're getting in. So, now I got more gold. Does it affect it? For what we're doing, it doesn't affect it because we're looking at it purely for the price of gold and silver. Gold's 5,000. We got an ounce of gold that's worth 5,000. It's not uncirculated gold 5,000. It's gold 5,000. Maybe uncirculated as a premium. I don't know, but I don't care. For our purposes of preserving our wealth, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if it's 5,000, we'll get 5,000 for our gold. Would you get 5,100 for uncirculated? I have no idea, and I really don't care. But I didn't spend more for it. It was $233 if this is uncirculated or not uncirculated. So from my standpoint, it didn't matter. Maybe the coin store will give me more for it because it's uncirculated. I doubt it. But that's what it is. So circulated means it's been touched. It's been in circulation. Now, normally, if you're collecting coins, you want an uncirculated one. It's worth more for some reason. I don't know what the big deal is if it's been touched, as long as the condition is like an MS-70 or like a PSA 10. So the Montana I have is not uncirculated, but if it gets a PSA 10 grade, then what do I care? A fast haircut, swim, and some gold sounds like a good day. Absolutely. I had an omelet for lunch, which you can see in the beginning of my class. And that's about it. I got some cantaloupe cut up and some pita bread. And I had a pita bread. I'll probably have some more later. These are 1/10 ounces, Greg or John. So ounces come in different weights. So the 1 ounce is the bigger coin. It's got an ounce. Then there's a half ounce and a quarter ounce, and then these 1/10 ounces. He had a half ounce maple leaf for $1,100. But because I'm not working and I'm trying to keep my money until until the Titanic sinks, so I don't want to cash too much in and then need to sell some gold. So I'm kind of keeping the dollars where they're at. Someone told me they don't want gold or silver because they might lose it. They might lose the gold or silver. Do they lose their money? Do they lose their wallet and keys? That's ridiculous. Well, I don't know, Greg and John. Alex, should I rewatch this for the breakdown on the championship game? Do whatever you want, Alex. You should watch it because there's important information on the pros. I went through those games. You might want to watch it for that, but that's up to you. So that's where I went. So gold still, like I said, like 2023. So it's 2023 now. Our little 10 o'clock drop went to 2 o'clock. Again, it's all bullshit. These are derivatives, not real prices of gold. Silver at 22.87. That's another joke. Now, I was watching this thing on banking, how the bankers are crooks. Pretty interesting. So first, there's this one on HSBC, which I talked to you about before. They launder money for the mafia all over the world. They're in Hong Kong, Shanghai is what they are. And I know we've talked about it before. And they just launder billions of dollars and nobody does shit. It's like the price fixing of gold. They do it. They know they're doing it, but they just fine them. It's like JP Morgan. Yeah, you're fixing the price of gold, so we're just going to fine you. But they won't prosecute them because they own the judges that would prosecute them. It's all such bullshit. But that was a pretty good one if you're interested in HSBC. But it's China and London. So it's Hong Kong, Shanghai Bank, which is all money laundering. And it's also got a branch in London or something. So, that's trouble with the two of those guys. So I was watching this this poker thing. Toby Maguire and was running a scam in poker where he had a professional dealer and he'd invite all these movie stars or poker players and he'd clean them out because the dealer was a scammer. So I thought that was like Spider-Man. Like, you're Spider-Man. You can't do that. So he wasn't a good boy. What else? I thought there was another. So then there's the Egon one I showed you, but if you want, it's a good one. And he tells us everything we need to know, which we already know. What's today? Wednesday. Mark McGuire wasn't on last week. He's probably too embarrassed, as stupid as he is. So let's see. So I'm still able to buy gold. It's still there. But see, we won't see. We're only buying little ounces. We don't buy tons like the China and Russia. So what I'm hearing is that Putin, they're getting ready. So let's talk about what happens. I live in Germany and I got euros, but I want to go buy Swiss francs. I want to go to Switzerland. I cannot use the euro to buy a Swiss franc. I have to use the euro to buy the dollar to then buy the Swiss franc. All right. It's totally fucked. Why can't I just use the to buy the Swiss franc? You can't. So I got to do this to buy this. Then I take this to buy the franc. And what Putin wants to do is get rid of this. And I'll say, okay, you want this? Then you buy this. And then you take this, the Swiss franc. So he wants to get out of, so he wants to exchange this for this. And he runs BRICS now. And they're being sanctioned, so they can't even buy dollars. So how does Russia even buy euros or anything, or Swiss franc? Well, they can do it with this. So this is turning into the money, the medium of exchange. This is what we want. The more this is in use, the more it'll go up in value because they'll need it to, because there's not enough gold. It's very, very limited. So look for this very soon. So step A is Russia will get out of that transfer out of the dollar into the gold. Now, our question is why the fuck can't I use Swiss francs to buy euros? Like, what is going on? Why can't I buy it or yuan? Why can't I just use if I have Swiss francs? Why can't I just buy it? But because of the FX system and this floating exchange rate bullshit, they can. So they have to buy dollars, which is why the dollar is just flooded all over the place. But here's the problem. As people stop using the dollar and they start replacing it with gold, not only does the dollar go bye-bye, but the gold goes way, way up. And that's what we're waiting for. So we can see this action in play. Also, Russia and Saudi Arabia have all the oil, right? We know that, and Dubai. They don't want dollars for their oil. What do they want? You want oil? You give us this. So they want gold for their oil, not dollars, because they realize, like we do, if Bobby Bo wants to sell his card, Bobby Bo doesn't want bullshit dollars for it. Bobby Bo wants this. That's what Bobby Bo. So what's going to happen is Bobby Bo's card. Let's say this is worth $100. Since I don't want dollars, you pay me in this, and that's what'll start happening. Is then he'll get revalued in gold. So now you want Bobby Bo? It's a tenth of an ounce of gold, which is right now $233. He says, "Yeah, I'm worth 230. So give me a tenth of an ounce of gold." And now Bobby's Bo's price is a tenth of an ounce of gold, not $200. And that will happen to everything: houses, cars, groceries. The whole kit and caboodle will be priced in gold because the people aren't going to want dollars because they're all bullshit. Bobby Bo, Grega's comment above does bring me to an interesting question, Professor. They don't want gold or silver because they might lose it. Oh, well, I think what he's saying is not losing it, is the government taking it. Okay. Let's ask the question properly, Greg John. Okay, so Bobby Bo. So if we have a substantial amount of gold and want to spread it out a bit in case something crazy happened, like we get robbed or something, etc., is there any place for owners of gold where we can store $100? I think you're missing a few zeros, Professor. Yeah. Well, just for example, Bobby Bo, this is 230 now, but when this goes up, then your card will be worth a lot more. Well, okay. So what does Egon say? He's got this vault in the mountain at Switzerland that a nuclear bomb could go off and you're fine. So they actually put a vault in a mountain in Switzerland. Leave it to Egon. And nothing, you're safe, but you need a lot of gold to go in there. It's like like $1 million worth to get in. So I couldn't do it. I don't have $1 million worth yet. So there's two things. In your safe, you go buy brass and you put it in and let them steal the brass. And in safe number 2, you put gold. I would not put it in a safety deposit box at a bank. Keep it out of government buildings. Anything that could close down. So you think you're safe at Wells Fargo, and you got or a Bank of America. You think you're safe. I got a safety deposit box. I got my gold in there. You think you're safe until they go out, and you go in there and say, yeah, I'd like to get my gold out of I'd like to go to my safety deposit box. Sorry, we're closed. You can't. They won't let you in because they're closed, and they go through your safety deposit box. So banks are out. I guess I would think of putting it, depending on what you have, I would put some different. I would put some in Switzerland. Now let's say we have 1,000 ounces, right? In Teaserking, we have 1,000 ounces in our little family here. So I would go take 500 to Egon, and there's smaller. Egon's like $1 million and up, but he mentions there's smaller places. So we put, 500 ounces, at 2,000 an ounce is $1 million. So we put 500 ounces in Switzerland. The other 500 we might divvy up. We put some in the house. We also put some brass in the house. That way they think they're stealing brass. And then maybe we get somewhere there. You've got like a U-Haul. Like in U-Haul, you can get those just little storage bins. And you can lock it, right? I see that show, like the guy, I don't know, it's abandoned and nobody's used the locker, and they bid on it, and then they open it up and they go through what's in there. You don't need a big one, but a small one, and you just go for like a security box or whatever. So you buy, unless you're like got a gate at your fence, let's go into the mine of a thief. He goes around and he, sees my apartment. He ain't coming in. In his mind, he goes, this guy can't have anything. It's just a little apartment, which is what I'm banking on. If you have a decent house, maybe he breaks in, maybe he doesn't. If you put it in a safe and you hide it, if this is just a guy, you're fine. He won't be able to break into your safe. If it's James Caan and the thief, when he's got the oils and they can, put the oil around it and then it just breaks out and then you just open it. Well, those are professionals. They're not dicking around in your house. They're going to dick around at warehouses and at banks and stuff like that. So you're pretty safe there. So that's why you have a safe, because if it's just a kid coming, he won't be able to open the safe. Does he take the whole safe? I don't know. But if you hide it, or you have a safe full of brass, and then your real safe's in the refrigerator or somewhere, he's not gonna stick around to figure it out. And if it's locked and he doesn't, obviously gonna have the key, and he's in a hurry, he doesn't want to get caught. So I don't know. I'm not really worried where I'm at because I do have a safe. I've never been broken into. When I travel, I keep a little in my car, because my cars have never had a problem at the airport. I park it at airports parking, and I've never had a problem where I came in and the car was gone or it was broken into. And you put it in the glove box or the trunk and you lock it up and you're pretty safe. Again, they don't know what you have. You're not advertising, I got 200 ounces of gold. You're not advertising that. So therefore, they don't really know you have it. And they're going to go to places where they know the person has it, right? So I'm going to go to the jewelry store where they have gold. I'm going to go to this Tappers where they have Rolexes. I'm going to take that. Even my coin store, okay, if they're in there, they know they have the gold coins. They'll probably go there before they come to my little apartment, which is the beauty. I'm like off the beat. Nobody would ever suspect it. So I think you're okay. But if you had enough, I would say let's go fly to Switzerland and let's go find a place that's not a bank that Egon recommends that says you can put it here and it'll be safe, especially in Switzerland. So I would say that if you had, like I said, we got 1,000 ounces of gold. We're putting 500 with Egon, maybe 600. And then the rest we kind of, and then you leave maybe 10 or 20 in the house and get a bag of brass coins because they look alike and nobody's going to really check them in the middle. Because if you're robbing something, you're like freaking out. Oh, they might come back or whatever. So you're not spending a lot of time in the house. So therefore, you'll see coins. Oh, they're gold and they're really brass. So keep a little of that around, but you want to deflect it. But just find a nice hiding place that people won't go, like the freezer or the fridge or under the oven or something. There's that drawer. Somewhere out of the ordinary where you're going to have your safe. It should, do they know if you're going to come home? They're going to be in and out quick. So I think you're okay in a normal neighborhood, doing that. So if if your comment is they might lose it, I assume you're talking about to the government taking it, not they forget where they have it or it drops out of their pockets. So let's assume you mean that, where the government takes it. That's not going to happen. The government will tax it. They won't take it because they can't come into everybody's house. They don't know who's got it really. And you won't let them in. It's illegal to come into your house. It's private property. So they really won't be able to come in. They need cause. Oh, I want to take your gold. But they haven't even done that, and they probably won't. So according to Egon, the alligator, they'll just tax you on the way out. So when you go to sell it, they'll 1099 you. And I even have a problem with that because they're calling it, they can tax you because it's a collectible. This is not a collectible. I'm buying money. This is not, I didn't buy this as a collectible. I bought this as money. I took my money to buy this money. This is money, right? So this is not a collectible. This is a collectible, right? This is a collectible. This is not a collectible. So I get this is a collectible, but I'm never going to pay tax on it anyway. But this is not, this is money. Definition, legally, the Constitution, gold and silver is real money. It's the only real money we have, and that's what we've got. So it doesn't, it's bullshit that they could tax you on it because it went up in value, even if it didn't go up in value. So let's say goes to 5,000. Well, they don't know what we bought it for. I bought it for 5,000. I didn't make any money on it. So I don't know. They really don't have a mechanism in place, and I am not going to help them out. So as far as I'm concerned, this is not a collectible. This is money. Legally, it's money. I was thinking of taking a lot of money out of my bank and getting safe. Yeah, absolutely, Bobby. I don't know what you're waiting for because the shit's about to hit the fan. You got to realize two problems you have with money in the bank. One, the money is worth less and less and less. It's inflated, right? The inflation is you're inflating the money supply, lowering the value. So you got 100 grand in your bank. It's not worth 100 grand. It will only buy $50,000 or $20,000 worth of goods and services. So that's your first problem. Your second problem is the bank going under, and you go, yeah, I'd like to get my money out. Sorry, Bobby Bo, we're closed. You're fucked. The third thing is, even if the bank's still open, you go to the bank and say, I want my 100 grand. Sorry, Bobby Bo, we don't have 100 grand on there because you know what? It's not really your money. It's really you've given it to us. So we have a credit that Bobby Bo has 100,000 in here, but we don't have the 100,000. They don't keep your money in the bank. That money's lent out or sold for whatever they do. It is not there for. There's not 100 grand sitting in a Bobby Bo account. It's just a credit that you have 100K coming. You go and try to get it, they'll give you at the most 10, 15,000. That's your second problem, right? So, well, we recognize the money, the bank hasn't closed yet, but between the money being worth, a penny, so your $100 is worth what, $1. So your 100,000 is worth what, $1,000. Or you can go and do this, which is what I keep yelling to do, because this is keeping the price down for us to do it. That's the one thing JP Morgan doesn't understand. If you take your 100 grand out, you can still buy 50 ounces of this at this incredibly cheap price of $2,000 an ounce. You can still do it. We know, this is why I bring up the Titanic. We know what's going to happen. We know that they are inflated the money supply, making the value of the dollar go to zero, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. Higher interest rates, they're stuck at 5. They're not going any higher, and 5% interest rates is not going to stop inflation. Neither will 10, neither will 20, neither will 100%, because you can't stop inflation. You printed the money. So if you printed $20 trillion, you've made the value of it worthless. What do higher interest rates have to do with it? Nothing, because the Keynesians think the prices. So if I raise interest rates, then you can't afford to go get Oreo cookies, they'll have to lower the price. That's not inflation, though. That's just the market reacting to higher prices. So just like I tell you about the barbecue place, if he makes the ribs 45, people aren't going to buy it. That's not inflation. That's the marketplace. So then he's got to lower the price to 25. That's got nothing to do with inflation. That's the market saying you're too expensive, I'm not going to buy it. So in the Titanic scenario, we know the boat hit the iceberg and we know it's sinking. And that's what we know with the dollar. We know it's hit the iceberg. We know they printed too much, and we know the value of the dollar is dropping to zero. And so we understand all that. So the boat's waiting for you. So you leaving your money in the bank is not good, because between not getting it out, because you're not going to be able to pull the whole thing out. I expect you have a lot more than $50 in the account, and they're not going to have that much for you. So you need to then you can transfer it into gold. You don't want to hold it in dollars. You keep enough dollars to pay 3 or 4 months of expense, but you're still getting paid from the Mets. And then I would take the rest and just go buy gold, buy it. What are you waiting for? This is money. It's not going to go down. They can't print it, so they can't inflate the supply of gold. So that's what you should do, because you have two risks, Bobby, that you don't need to take. One, can you get the money out? And two, the value of your dollar is going down, down, down. So those are your two problems. Now we know the value of the dollar is going out. That's given. And then it's getting it out. But if you have gold, they can't attack on Wall Street you. They can't say, yeah, you got nothing in there. That's why you got it in the safe at home. You've got 100 ounces. And you're fine. You're protected. It can't go down. It can't be worthless. They can't print it. And you've got it. And nobody can take it from you. And nobody can say, oh, Bobby, that's worth zero. They can't do that because there's a market. Everybody wants it. Putin and Xi have 100,000 tons of it. Obviously, they want it. And they are buying as fast as they can until COMEX blows up. So that's what you got to understand. There's no risk. Okay, so I need money. I go back to the coin store and I say, here you go. And he gives me back my $230. Here's your 230 for the gold. That's the worst that happens. Oh, okay, yeah, right. I need more money. I need some money. I need some dollars to pay some bills. So here you go. That's the worst that happens. If it doesn't go up in value first, and if the dollar, but I have no risk with it. I basically have switched. I took 230 of these and bought this. What's my risk? I know this is going to zero. I know this is going to the moon. Please explain my risk to me. Oh, I might lose it. I might get taxed on it. Well, this is going to zero. I'd rather get taxed on this and have it than see this go to zero. There is no choice. This is going to zero. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. We know the Titanic has hit the iceberg. That's a given. So we understand that. So we already know the future. We know it'll go out. We know gold goes to the moon. So it's as much gold as you can eat, and silver. And there's nothing. It's not even a debate. That's what's happening. You got idiots in charge printing the money, as much as they can till it's worthless. Alex, I was asking about rewinding. Is there a breakdown of the game? Very little. Again, I didn't watch it live. I watched the highlights. So the breakdown goes something like Michigan got extremely lucky to not play Georgia because they would have been shut out if they played Georgia. So they got lucky that Washington's defense was not really that good against the run, and Washington didn't really have a running attack that could really bother Michigan. Oregon would have beat them easily, and Georgia would have shut them out. So that was kind of my breakdown. The holding penalties were bullshit. So when Penix hits a 35-yard pass and it's called back for holding, that's a joke. So obviously it was a fixed game, and what else is new? And so was the Buffalo-Miami game was fixed. Those two interceptions by Josh Allen was the 68 Jets Super Bowl. Same thing. Oh, we were in to see your pro game breakdowns as well. Yeah, I covered all that. Free play is the Lions over, and I'll get into the putting up my scores soon. Bobby Bow, 0, no silver price is down to 23.07. It's paper, Bobby. What doesn't matter. We know that's going to 2,000. Stop looking at paper price gold. We'll see physical soon. When COMEX blows up and it goes physical, don't kid yourself. China and Russia and India are buying silver also. So don't kid yourself. And then think about it. If I have the gold and silver, I want the price to go up. So even your, who's that company? Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, they have a lot of gold and silver, but of course they want the price to go up. But right now they're printing the money. So the mafia wants the price. They want the money. They don't want to lose their money. Now, are the mafia smart enough to buy gold with their money is the question. But that's this whole thing I was showing you. So this is HSBC. This is the Hong Kong Singapore Bank. It's in China, and there's a branch in London. It's all money laundering. Billions of dollars of mafia money goes in and comes out. Now, are they smart enough to buy gold with their money and not hold it in paper? I don't know. That's the question. Because once they buy the gold, they're fine. It's gonna be worth zero. So all these customers in these banks are all their accounts are going to zero. They'll just steal it from them and say, "Oh, that's it," and all the mafias are going to be in big trouble because unless they buy gold, which I'm not aware if they're buying it or not, all I know is that's where they're going. All the mafias are going into HSBC to get they're going into HSBC to get to launder their money. So if they're smart enough, they'll turn it into gold. If they're not, they're going to lose all this money that they're putting in HSBC as HSBC goes out, as all the banks will. All right, I can't respond to that. Laugh out loud. I know Professor Luke might be somewhere shivering right now, as I know he's been stressing the lack of price action lately. But you guys are looking at the paper, so you got to stop looking at the paper. Look at what Russia's doing. What's Putin doing? What's BRICS doing? Like I said, so you have this. I have a euro and I want to buy a Swiss franc, and you need the dollar, right? I gotta sell these to get these. Then I got to take this to buy the Swiss franc. And what Putin's doing now is he's saying, no. We want to replace the dollar with gold. So now I got a euro. Forget the dollar. We're going to use gold, and then we're going to sell the gold to buy Swiss francs. So I'm going to go euro, gold, Swiss francs. So they're getting out of the dollar, which is going to boost the gold, and obviously the dollar would be worthless. That's what's coming. That's what he's doing. So from that standpoint. Wasn't there something beneficial to metals supposed to take place January 10th? I don't know. What's January 10th? I don't know. I mean, Russia's going to do a lot to help us. They're going to come out with gold-backed bricks, and there's going to be gold-backed yuan for the Chinese, and then there's going to be gold-backed bricks. All right, rubles for the Russians and yuan and then the bricks. So it's all coming. The U.S. with all these wars is doing their best to. They're doing their best to ruin the dollar because these wars are very expensive. Just think of it as a big expense with no revenue, right? I got to buy the tanks and the planes and the rockets and the missiles. And I got to feed the men, and I need gas to drive the tanks and the cars. And there's no revenue involved. Usually you try to do it to get the oil at the end of the day. Or like Hitler did, he was going for the gold. So he would go to Amsterdam and he'd steal the gold. Basically, that's World War II. That's basically every war is about oil or gold or something as why they spend all their money on the war, because the war is very expensive, the military. So you'll see that. So the U.S. is doing its best to blow themselves up so the elitists can do whatever bullshit they're trying to do, which won't work. The thing about the U.S. people is we are independent. We do what we want to do. And if the elitists, if Gates and Buffet are trying to get us to do something, we're going to tell them to fuck off. That's where we are. We're tough. We take care of ourselves. So it's never going to work because we're not going to accept it. So they can think whatever they want, and you can say it, but that's it. That's what it was, I think. Some announcement regarding BRICS. I thought we would today, but I could be. Well, I mean, January 1st, Russia took it over. Putin's running BRICS right now. Was there a conference? Maybe. Yeah, maybe there was a conference in Russia you're referring to. So we probably won't hear anything about that. We'll have to go to watch Egon or Alligator to learn about that in the coming weeks. But the hell if it's going to be on, CNBC or anything. So I'm not sure, but that's basically it. Yeah, I'll check it out, Bobby. BRICS. Well, let's see. Let me look. See what BRICS is up to today. Russia and Iran will benefit from the expanded BRICS. Those are the new countries joining. And you got this Putin, Russia's BRICS presidency, a boost to Putin anti-West alliances, BRICS expansion in the global south, something to do with oil. BRICS, Russia, and Iran, and SWIFT start bank transfers in local currencies. That'll be a big help to gold. So they're telling the U.S. to fuck off with SWIFT. BRICS Bank makes strides in funding and to ditch the U.S. dollar. There's some good news. BRICS Bank makes strides in funding and to ditch the dollar. BRICS, JP Morgan issues major warning about the U.S. economy. Oh, the fact that JP Morgan's fucking over everybody? Here we go. BRICS currency, will it release in 2024? Let me quickly go into this one. My guess is yes. One of the biggest developments coming is the continued establishment of its own currency, which will be backed by gold. And the bloc has been keen on developing the currency to coincide with local currencies to ditch the dollar. The expansion in 24 is imminent, and more countries looking to abandon the greenback. Will BRICS currency finally be released? When answering the question, it's important to analyze the currency growth. Yeah. Answer the fucking question, yes or no. Iran to help create BRICS currency to ditch the dollar. So you gonna give us a fucking answer? BRICS currency making a debut this year, possibly at the end of the next summit in Russia. So it sounds like it's coming. So I would say, here come the BRICS gold-backed currency coming this year. Everybody wants to get out of the dollar. So if I'm Argentina, I have to sell and I want to buy Brazilian, let's say. I have to sell my Argentina dollars for US dollars and then sell the US dollars for Brazilian dollars. So it's all over the world. And they're all like, fuck the US. This is why they all hate us, right? Because it's like, why do I have to buy US dollars to buy anything? And the thing we don't realize is, so when I go to Amsterdam or Europe, I just buy euro. I take my dollars, I buy euro. I go to the ATM, give me euro. It's a very simple. So I don't see all that. I don't have to turn my dollars into rubles and then sell the rubles to buy Swiss francs. I don't see that. When I'm in Switzerland, I'm using my dollars. mostly on my debit card, but that's the thing. So that's what we're not really seeing, but they're seeing it. They got to be pissed. Why do I? Because it costs them money, right? I'm going to buy $100, cost me 110, and then I take and then I only get 100. Like when I ATM'd in Germany, a month ago, I bought 200 euros. It cost me 200 and almost $230 to buy 200 euros because of these excessive charges on the ATM machines and the FX rate of $1.06 for why is the dollar worth less than the euro? It doesn't make any sense. So I had to pay all that. Now I just was switching to euros, so because we're in Germany, in case we needed it, which we really didn't. But that's the difference. And they all want to get out of that. They don't want. They'll gladly just sell their Argentina dollars for BRICS dollars, and then I guess use the BRICS dollars. I don't know, but Putin wants to make the gold the intermediary, not the U.S. dollar. Intermediary, not the U.S. dollar. So that's going to boost gold anyway. But as nobody wants, so that's the critical part of my class. You can only have a market if there's supply and demand. If nobody wants my Canadian club, there's no market. It's zero. If there's demand for it, it has a market, and I get what the market says. If nobody wants the dollar because they printed it to hell and they don't want the sanctions, they don't want all the bullshit, guess what? The dollar has no value. And there's way too many of them that they're not worth anything anyway. So look for the dollar to go out soon. Okay. Again, how long does it take the Titanic to sink? So Bobby and Luke would be with me in the lifeboat going, well, Professor, how long does it take for the boat to sink? I go, well, you see it filling with water. When it sinks, it sinks. How long? It's like, Jesus. So it's the perfect example because it's when it sinks. So that's probably what they're talking about, this BRICS conference in Russia. I know. Well, it looks like it started yesterday, but yeah, that's probably what you saw, Bobby. By the way, that one buddy I told you about finally quit his corporate job and cashed out his 401k. So I advised him to buy metals with it, and you won't believe what happened. His girlfriend threatened to kick him out of the house if she sees 1 ounce of gold or silver around. Okay, we need to have a talk with the girlfriend. What is her objection to gold and silver? See, this is the problem. She doesn't know anything about it. She's making brass decisions that are unfounded and not true. All I can say to him is have her talk to me and educate, or talk to you. It's the dollar's going to zero because their inflation is inflating the supply of dollars. And when you add to the supply, you lose value. It's worthless. And then all the BRICS countries that don't want to be in the dollar will take away the demand. We already tried to sell T-bills, which we can't sell. Nobody wants to buy but our Fed. So the Fed and the Treasury are buying the T-bills. It's like me and Bobby. That's like, well, I can't sell the Bobby Bocart, so Bobby buys it. And then, so he gives me $1,000 for it, and then I give him the money right back. Because nobody else wants the Bobby Bocart, unfortunately. But that's kind of what it is. Nobody wants the T-bills, so we buy them from ourselves. What is that's not the idea of the auction. So the first question is, he needs to sit down with his girlfriend, be stoic. You've got to get these guys stoic. They're not stoic. Be stoic, be calm, say, I'm buying gold. It's the best thing for us. That's what the professor said. Professor who? Turn on my video and you'll see. But she needs to understand. Maybe I'll do a short little 10-minute video on gold. So when this happens, they can just go in. She told him to keep it in the bank and will slap him and throw him out the house for she sees any transaction of metals or simply any around the house anywhere. She sees any, if she sees any transactions. So, but that's real money that can't be inflated, that can never lose its value, and it's only going to go, to the moon. What is her objection? She doesn't understand gold and silver, nor does she understand banks or dollars or the fact that the banks are all going broke. So she doesn't understand, but she makes comments that don't make any sense anyway. Why would you keep your money in the bank? Why is so? Like I said, I went and spent $230 on this. If I need to, I go back to the store and a guy gives me my $230. Here you go. Maybe I lose $5 in the premium if I sell it today, right? What are you afraid of? You can't inflate this. It can never go to zero. The Russians and Chinese and BRICS want it, so there's demand. They buy tons and tons of it, not tenth of an ounces of it. What exactly is the problem? I mean, at worst case, you go back and you get money back for it. But that's like, if you need the money. But the money, I guarantee you the money's hit the iceberg and the money's going out. I guarantee you that. Now, do you notice how they bullshit with the stock market? Well, the stock market's at 37,000 or Bitcoin, whatever. I mean, it's all bullshit. It's just to make the economy look better. So it's really not. It's all propaganda. It's the Joe Goebbels from the Nazis. It's a bunch of propaganda. Oh, look how strong the economy is. Look at the stock market. That's all fixed. They're printing money to buy stocks, and they're only buying those 5 or 6 stocks anyway. Bobby, I think she just really believes in the bank and keeping it safe in the savings, like most of these people. My family who didn't listen thinks the same. People just love the banks. Well, they trust the government because the government's never lied to us. 9/11 was a gold robbery. Isn't that what they said? Oh, by the way, the F-14s didn't fly that day for what? They were maintenance? I mean, so a plane hits the Trade Center, and where's the F-14? And then the second plane hits, and the F-14 is nowhere to be seen. And you want to trust that. That's the whole point of the F-14, to protect us. Unbelievable. He told me if I can explain it to her next time we hang out, since she respects Bobby Bo's insight. Have her call me if you can't handle her. It's very simple. This is paper. Inflation means inflating the supply. This is worth nothing. This is 99% gone. It's not worth anything. Show her 10 minutes of my video. I'll make a 10-minute video. This is worthless. Nobody wants it. Then you have BRICS with Russia sanctioned. They can't even use this. And China, nobody wants this. So why do you trust the banks? The banks aren't going to survive because they can't afford the higher interest rates. So the first thing is you explain inflation as they're inflating the supply, so the value is worthless. That's step one. So if I keep my money in the bank, it's going to be worth zero. Go look at 1923 Germany. Go look at Zimbabwe now. Look at Sri Lanka now. Look at Venezuela now. They all have huge inflation. The people are poor. They can't afford anything. Only the people with gold survive. So that's step one. Step two, all you're doing is switching money to gold. You're not spending a dime. You're simply taking this and buying this. It's very simple. I didn't spend a dime today. I spent $477 to buy this. This is still worth $477. Well, the two of them. So all I did was switch this into this. This is going to zero and this is going to the moon. What's wrong with that? What's my risk? There's no risk. Where do we think there's a risk? This is going to zero if it's not there now. It's 99. This dollar's worth a penny. I can't. How much more do you want me to rip there? Okay. This is what this dollar's worth. $100 is worth $1. It's lost its value. Have her go look at Coca-Cola and Oreo cookies and Cheerios and ask her, well, why the price is so high? Because this is losing its value. She'll think it's because they raised prices, but it's because this has no value. So you only switched it into this, but this can't go down. This will go to zero. This can't go to zero because of demand and the Russians and BRICS and everything else. This can only go up. So you're about to make a fortune, and she doesn't want to do it because she wants to go broke in dollars. I mean, it's very simple. So this you can't lose in because you can't fuck with the supply. You can't inflate this. You can't print this. You can't copy this. This is what it is, and that's it. There is no where I'm printing the dollars. That's why this has no value. These guys are printing, $1 billion here and there. The interest on the debt is $1 trillion a year now, going up because now we're at 35 trillion in debt. So you got to print this, but you can't print this. So this is like a limited Mahomes card. This is like a 50 count Mahomes card. That's it. You can't make more, so you can't lose the value. And as everybody drops out of this and the euros and the rest of the world, they'll all jump to this. There's not enough of this because you can't print it. So then the value of this goes through the roof with no risk. At what point am I not buying gold? And what point am I keeping my money in the bank? Then you tell her, I already took all my money out of the bank. I bought gold with it. I just keep a couple thousand in the bank just to pay rent or whatever. That's it. I don't have money in the bank. I don't want money in the bank because when the bank closes, I won't be able to get it. And good luck, Bobby. You go to the bank and you try to pull your money. I guarantee you cannot. You can maybe pull 10 grand, 15 grand. And you better do it quick because you're going to get to the point where they're going to say, sorry, Bobby. Well, I can give you 10 grand. That's it. And you lose your ass. That's why you can't wait. Like it's happening now. You can't wait. The interest rates are up. The banks are all fucked. The inflation's here. And what's happening to gold with Russia, China, and BRICS. You got a roadmap. I mean, that's simple. One of my girls said she likes what she hears about gold, but she is confused about the premium part. Well, the premium part is, I guess they're trying to make money. So if the gold, like we see the gold at $20.35, take silver. We see silver at $23. But they know it's worth more because they know it's price fixed and they know it's paper priced. So they know the silver's worth more and there's huge demand. It's mostly a demand thing. So they don't like the spot because of derivatives. So they're clever and they're going to mark it up $1 or $2. So the premium's just the dealer marking it up because they know it's undervalued and they know there's big demand for it. So therefore, if there's demand for gold, I can get another $100. So it's nothing, but it's everywhere. It's not like one guy, it's all of them. And show her eBay. And it's just, that's, if you want gold, that's the price. And that's what you do. And I don't care about the premium. The premium doesn't bother me one bit because I want the gold. I want the 1/10 of an ounce. If I had to pay $330, I would have probably bought it. But you want to give it to me for $237 or $234. All I can say is thank you and buy it. Because this is the most important thing. When gold goes to 50,000, It's how many ounces do you have, not, premiums and shit. So tell her not to worry about that. Kind of like what I asked in the past about why we buy it. It's like we are paying a fee. That's just a commission. It's just because it's paper. It's the paper price, so they know it's a little bit under what it. So they're trying to get it to market, basically. It's not the point. The point is that you want to own ounce. You just want to own it. So if you got to pay another $100, but it's not like it's one plate. It's if you have 100 stores, all 100 are pricing it at that. You can show her SD Bullion, JD Bullion, eBay. Ask me, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. More important that you own it than worry about. So I paid 234. I don't know what 1/10. So let's say it's 21.50. So it should have been $215. I paid $20 premium, let's say. Who gives a fuck? But I own the gold. That's the important stuff. Well, you might hate the premiums, but if you want to own the gold, which is what you want to do, you pay them. But you realize that the gold is 20,000 an ounce. So if you think of in your head that this is paper gold and the physical gold's much higher, and you're buying a $2,000 ounce of gold, a $20,000 ounce of gold for 2,000. Now, how do you feel? Do you give a fuck about the premium? Or do you say, wow, I just got a $20,000 ounce of gold for 2,000? Yeah, I guess I'm pretty happy with that. That's how you got to look at it, Bobby Bo. Believe me, when this hits 50,000, these are 5,000. I paid $230. This is worth $5,000. Yeah, I can do that. I will bring my baseball bat inside the bank if they try to pull that. You won't be able to get inside the bank, Bobby Bo. The guard at the door is going to say, we're closed. Now what are you going to do? You can put them in a figure four. You can do the stone cold. You can rock bottom them. It won't matter. You're not getting in the bank when it closes. And if they hold your money, you're not getting your money. Yeah, talk to her and my friend's girl. I'm sure she'll change her mind once I tell her. I'll let her know that she can still slap him anyway, but to make sure you let him get the medals. Just tell her to watch, watch one of my videos or you explain it. Look, I bought, so I practice what I preach. So if I'm full of shit or if I'm Maloney or Peter Schiff, he doesn't show you this. He just sells it. So he's going to talk shit to sell it. I'm not talking shit because I'm not selling. You're not getting this from me for $230. You had at least a zero to that. So give me $2,000 for this. I mean that's when I start selling it. But just the problem is they're not educated, Bobby. So they don't know. They don't know what they're afraid of in gold. You can't get better than gold. Explain it to her. Would she be happier if you bought Rolexes? That I'm sure she understands. So if he went and took his money out and bought a Rolex and locked it in a safe, would she be happier? Problem is Rolex isn't money and gold is. So she'd be happier. So there's two steps. You explain to her that the dollars she has are worthless. And the inflation is eating away the value of the dollar. So the dollar is worthless. So you keep your money in the bank. You got $100,000 in the bank. It's worth approximately like maybe $1,000. That's all it's worth. That's all it'll go to the grocery store and try to buy it or whatever you're going to buy, a car, clothes. You're not getting the value that you could have, that you used to. So 5 years ago, the 100,000 would have bought a lot more. And then as we go forward, now you got the $100,000, it's worth 1,000. Pretty soon it's worth 100 until it's worth nothing. Yeah, thanks. The thing people don't know the difference of the jewelry compared to bullions. Well, also that the dollar's losing value. How many people understand that? The dollar's worthless. It's not worth anything. You're lucky with the 100. Go to the grocery store and fill your cart. It's going to cost you $300-400. It ain't. They're not charging you more. It's the problem is the dollar's worth less, and that's where it's at. So that's the problem. The dollar doesn't have a value because they inflate it, because they don't even tell you what inflation is. It's not cost. It's you're printing the dollar, and now there's so many dollars out there, they're not worth anything. And then nobody wants it, and all these BRIC countries want to get out of it. Nobody wants it. There's no value. Everybody wants gold. If Putin wants it, you tell her Putin's got let's say 35,000 tons of it. You explain that to her, and there's 32,000 ounces to a ton. So you tell her Putin's got 35,000 tons of gold. She'll know who Putin is. She'll hear that. That might convince her that maybe it's a good idea to do what Putin does relating to gold, right? Anytime I bring up gold or silver, people bring up their jewelry or something. Well, show them this. Say, no. I'm talking coins. This is what you own. You don't own this. I mean, so let's say this is 20. This is 1 ounce. So let's say it's 21. Let's call it 2,000. I can't get 2,000 for this. I get 3/4 of it because this is 18 karat. I get 1,500 out of this. But if this was an ounce, I get the full 2,000. So it's costing me $500. This is costing me $500 because it's 18 karat, and there's no such thing as 24 karat. Maybe in India, I think, but not here. Now you're getting 14 karat. So it's not even. This is not 100% gold. This is, and that's the difference. So you don't want jewelry, but you're talking to women, so you got to be careful because it's hard to tell them what to do because they won't listen. But if he holds it in dollars, he'll be broke. It'll be worthless. So all his 401k money will be worthless. And it's a lot more fun, as you know, to play with your gold and silver in the bed. It's a lot more fun. You'll stack your silver, stack your gold. That's an exciting night. Much more exciting. What are you going to count your money? Let's see. What's this worth now? I got 100 grand. It's worth about what? $5,000. Anyway, the dollar's going to zero, and the gold can't, and the gold's going up. Yeah, JP Morgan's holding on, but as Egon said, 2,500, then it goes to 3,000. So Egon's told us what's happening. I'm telling you what's happening. So you need to be like to the girl, what are you afraid of? What is your problem with gold? And let her explain why she thinks gold would go to zero. They can't inflate it. They can't print it. There's huge demand. All the central banks are buying it. Putin has 35,000 tons, and China has 60,000 tons. There's 100,000 tons of gold out there that they bought. Why? It's such a bad thing. So you're sure Putin's going to be an idiot and buy 35,000 tons of something worthless? But she won't know Putin's got 35,000 tons. You got to listen to Alligator and Egon. No, to get off subject, Professor, but just got a quick dark chocolate. Anytime, Bobby Mo. You don't vampire me, only Greg or John. Fire away, Bobby Bo. Have you still been having 3 pieces a night? Sometimes I have 4. I read that dark chocolate supposedly prevents hunger. Is that true? I don't eat it for that reason, but what does 92% mean? It means that It's 92% cocoa, 8% sugar. Milk chocolate is 100% sugar. An 80% dark chocolate is 80% cocoa, 20% sugar. So you're eating something with very little sugar, but the kicker is how important the cocoa is extremely healthy for you. Just like the honey, just like the lemon, just like the olive oil. These are all very important cocoa. Very big healer. And it's not that you're not eating it because to curb your appetite. Your appetite, if you're really going down the list and eating, and you're having omelets and veggies and steaks and salads and water, you don't have an appetite. Your appetite, because when you eat chips and you eat Oreos and you eat ice cream, there's things in there that make you hungry. That's why you can't eat one Lay's or one Frito. You eat the whole bag because it stimulates you. So you grab a handful of Fritos, put them in your mouth. Guess what? You're having another until there's nothing in the bag. You ever do that with cauliflower or broccoli or roast or steaks? How many steaks do you eat? Do you keep eating steaks till they're gone, or do you eat one and say, yeah, that's pretty good? No, you're avoiding those foods that are chemically enhanced to make you keep eating, like chips, like cookies, things that are on the grocery shelves, maybe even Cheerios. I don't know. So it doesn't prevent you, but if you're not eating chips and cookies and stuff and bread, you don't have the appetite, because cauliflower, there's nothing in it, or broccoli that makes you hungry, right? That's only in Oreos and Chips Ahoy and stuff. So you don't have that in your system, so you're not that hungry. The dark chocolate kind of substitutes from eating M&Ms, which are all sugar, which fuck you up. These are very low sugar, but the cocoa is extremely healthy for you. So it's like honey. You want to eat a few of them, but are you finding yourself hungry from the dark chocolate? I wouldn't think so. And it doesn't taste as good as M&Ms, but you're not. It's enough for the sweet tooth. Yeah, I mean, it can be 3 or 4 pieces, whatever. If you need more, that's your sweet tooth, though. Cocoa is much healthier than M&Ms. It says that unlike chips and stuff like that, dark chocolate doesn't leave cravings for too much more. Kind of like avocado, it keeps you more full. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that's what I just said. They're not putting stuff in the dark chocolate that chemically make you hungry, like a Fritos or Doritos or any of that. Yeah, I read that too, saying that it would be good for your health and reduces blood pressure and relaxes you. Yeah, well, it doesn't. If you eat M&Ms, the sugar is going to give you a sugar buzz. Your blood pressure is going to go through the roof because you're eating crap. So nothing good comes out of eating sugar buzz, right? So you shouldn't have sugar if you're trying to go to sleep or you got kids. That's why kids go wild. They eat them sugar. They feed them candy. It's all sugar. The kids run around, until they crash. That's why the sugar wires you up. You don't want that. So, yeah, I mean, does it reduce blood pressure? I don't know. Maybe the cocoa does. Just read up on cocoa. Read up on honey. There's a lot of good properties to them. Why do you think I put ginger and cinnamon in my water? I mean, A, so I don't buy pop, and B, it's extremely healthy for you. So that's really what you want. But yeah, that's kind of like I made hamburgers and chicken. I'll eat that, which is all nice, and even veggies. I'll fry them up, but I'm using olive oil. You could theoretically make French fries if you made them at home. And you used olive oil because you don't want to. In the restaurants, they have the oil and it sits all day and they keep reusing it. That's what the problem is. So if you're at home, you could have your olive oil and make French fries and you'd probably be okay with it once in a while. Everything's once in a while, except for avocados, eggs, omelets. That's all everyday type of stuff. Chicken, steak. But yeah, blood pressure, basically, that's the little man inside, Bobby. That's why we do the 40-hour fasting, is to reduce the blood pressure, because the little guy cleans up. And, so it cures your blood pressure. Anyway, show the girls this. Say, look, here's the professor. He buys it. If he buys it, you should buy it. There's no risk. You cannot lose because they can't print it. And the key to everything is printing. Once you have too much, it's got no value, right? So the money has no value because they print way too much of it. It's very simple. Why do you think all these, bring up the Roman Empire? Ask her, why do you think the Roman Empire went out? Because of inflation. They took the gold and silver out of their coins. And once they did that, that was the end of it. So you can't, inflation's printing money, making it worthless because you printed too much and nobody wants it. They'll eventually pull all their money, the foreigners, and the stock market crashes and the bond market crashes and the housing crashes and the banks crash. So don't for a minute think I'm going to walk into the bank and get $300,000 out. And they're going to laugh. Say, what? You want 300,000? I can give you 10,000. Come back 30 times to get your 300,000. I guess if you ever get to that point, I would move it into my checking account and I'd run to the gold store and I'd buy a bunch of gold with my debit card. And that way you get your money out that way. That would be like the fail safe. Instead of actually going for the money to pull it to go to the gold store, just put it in your checking account, use your debit card, and just empty your checking account with gold if you want to clean out the account or as much as you want. I actually took the money because the guy preferred it at the gold store, the money versus the he took the money versus the credit cards. So then these are the caps. So this is what I use to put the gold in. Although they're telling me to leave it in this because it's uncirculated instead of putting it in there. But I love these, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I can always do it later, I guess. So we'll keep an eye on BRICS. We'll keep an eye on, these wars. The Russian war is over. Russia won. And this Israeli war, I don't know what. They're just going to war to go to war, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they think that'll solve the inflation, which it won't. I don't know what they're thinking. You're dealing with a bunch of idiots running everything. That's the problem. So you got to understand that they don't know what they're doing. Hence, we just buy gold and sit back. I am not stressed at all over owning gold. I have no stress. If I had dollars, I'd be pretty fucking scared. Oh, how am I going to get my money out of the bank? That's what I'd be scared of. And that the value of the dollar is going to go to zero. That would be the second thing I'm scared of. But in this case, I'm not worried about the gold going to zero. That poor Attack on Wall Street guy. That's all. When I watch that movie, I go, dude, if you'd just listened to me and bought in gold, you wouldn't have killed anybody. And you would have been rich and you would have been able to save your wife's life. It's just terrible. Anyway, there's so much shit on Wall Street and the banks, how crooked the banks are. I watched something earlier. I don't know where it is. I don't know. I watched something on gold. Oh, this one here. The man who stole this one. The man who stole, what is it called? The bankers who stole the world. This was all about the 2008 crash. So what happens in this one? They all do the derivatives and they fuck everybody over, as we've seen in the Margin Call movie and the Big Short, where the banks fuck everybody over because they bought all the derivatives, then they dumped them. And the point was, none of them went to jail. Here they just fucked everybody over with Madoff things, and nobody went to jail. And they all, if they did go under, they went and worked at another place. So basically, the point was there was no risk and a huge reward to sell these phony derivatives or what do you call it, real estate trust. There was no risk because they were going to get bailed out, which I knew anyway from the government because they run the government. So basically, it was they had to pay a fine or a penalty, but they got it. So it was kind of interesting, but it was all, we already know it. It's all what we talk about. But I couldn't find that. But I've been watching a lot of that where the bankers are so crooked. This is the problem. You got your money in the bank, you're fucked. You're dealing with criminals who don't care because they don't go to jail. It's insane. They go do something and they pay a fine. So it's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, so that's what's going on in the world. We know the BRICS are coming. We know the gold-backed currency is coming. So again, it's just when, but not will it. There's no question about it. The question is when. When's gold price going up? But you and Luke aren't asking me, you're not asking me, will it go up? You're just saying, when will it go up? And that's a big difference. So just realize that. It's not will it, it's when will it. When's it going up? Or come on, Howard. It's been a couple months. Where are you? So a lot will change this year, but we're ahead of the curve. We're sitting on our gold. We're just waiting. Okay, when's it coming up? Wait, here it goes. That's the difference. So we're very comfortable because when everybody gets the shit beat out of them holding dollars and the bank's closing and stock market crashing, we'll be sitting in gold going, oh, that's a shame. So, and that's the other part about the Bitcoin people. They don't get it. It's priced in dollars. It's going to zero too. They don't understand the dollar pricing, I don't think. Okay. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So I'm going to go put my gold in my safe. I can't. It's nice. Then I go onto my spreadsheet and I add it, and now I get my new value. Now I can start changing it because the value I had in there goes up. So I think I had 2,000 an ounce. It's now like 2,150 an ounce. So now the value of my gold goes up, and I know it's not even close. I do that, and then I do it at 50,000, like where it should be. But I'm not worried. They can't keep it down. It's going to blow. So again, if you know that, you're not too worried that, JP Morgan and COMEX is going to keep holding the price down. It'll never go up. Yeah, okay. All right, so we hit on football. 3 games. Well, we got 2 games Saturday, 3 Sunday, and a Monday nighter. It's getting ridiculous. And again, I'll start figuring out some scores to put in. So to review, Cleveland 2.5, 44 over Houston. Flacco against Stroud. Flacco 13 touchdowns, 8 picks. Stroud 23 and 5. We got Miami and KC. Tag against Mahomes. Tag 29 touchdowns, 14 picks. Mahomes 27 and 14. We got 9 degrees and 15-mile-an-hour winds in KC. Oh, yeah, Miami's from the south. Yeah, oh, good luck there. We've got Pitt and Buffalo. KC's 4 and 44. Buffalo's 10 and 37. We got Rudolph, 3 touchdowns, no picks against Josh Allen, 29 and 18. 25 degrees and 27-mile-an-hour winds. So this is getting there. And then we got Green Bay and Dallas. Dallas 7.5, 50. Love is 32 and 11. Prescott 36 and 9. Nothing. It's in a dome, so there's no weather issues. We got Detroit 3 and 51. Stafford against Golf. Stafford 24 and 11. He missed a few games. Golf is 30 and 12. We know Golf chokes. This is your free play. You go over in the game. The Lions secondary can't stop them. And Philly, Tampa. Philly is 344. Hurts against Mayfield. Hurts 23 touchdowns, 15 picks. The Mayfield are 28 and 10. Not a bad year. Again, he played Carolina twice. And he only got field goals against Carolina. So I got to go watch that highlights and see what the fuck happened. 14-mile-an-hour winds there. So the 2 outdoor games, Dallas is in a dome, Detroit's in a dome, Houston's in a dome. Miami, KC, 9 degrees, 15-mile-an-hour winds, and Buffalo, 25 degrees and 27-mile-an-hour winds. And Philly, Tampa's 50-some degrees and 14-mile-an-hour winds. Well, Bobby, you can tell us the temperature in Tampa on Sunday or Monday. And Bobby Bow, is that a pita with peanut butter? Where? What do you? I'm not eating anything. Do I make it like that? Yeah, you can make it. You can either put it in a frying pan, put butter in it, let it kind of melt, and then put the pita and turn it over. You can put olive oil in a little bit and then put your pita on. Or peanut butter, I wouldn't put in the frying pan. I would just maybe heat up the pita and then put the peanut butter on one side. Do you toast it and then spread the peanut butter? Yeah, I mean, you could either toast it or put it in the frying pan. Yeah, it's really good. And I get the certain type of pita. Let me show you what I buy. So I get this. This is actually like Lebanese pita bread. There's 8 to it. So I usually try to only have one a day. There's there's 14 carbs in here. I don't know what regular bread is. I know it's more than that. So you want to be careful. You don't want to have too much of this. But, it's like a breakfast, or, when I have my avocado, I'll have this. Or like before, like after dinner, I might have it with my tea. And then this is what I get, the dark chocolate Giraldi. See, this is 86. And I mean, even per container, there's only 510 calories because there's not a lot of sugar in it. So if I look at this, there's no cholesterol, there's no sodium, there's per serving. Servings is 3 tubes, so there's 11 grams of carb, 4 from sugar. And that's it. And ingredients: unsweetened chocolate, cocoa, butter, cane sugar, milk fat, natural flavors. So of this, there's very little. Uh, the cocoa is 86%. So there's very little sugar, just enough to, I don't know, cook with it or make flavor for it. But it's the 86% of this 100% is cocoa. That's what you want. And cocoa is extremely healthy. So that's why you have it. But you treat it, this isn't M&Ms. This isn't, I'm going to eat this big chocolate sundae or big chocolate cake. This is just, it helps your sweet tooth, because this is fine. I don't crave chocolate if I have that. Problem is, I'll have 2-3 squares a day. Then the problem is, and I lost all my weight, my blood pressure, so not a problem to eat that. The problem is when you run out, and then that sweet tooth hits you, and now you're buying a cake or ice cream instead of having 2 or 3 squares of this. And that satisfied. I'll just snap off a little sometimes and just get the taste of it. But it does kind of give you a little sweet tooth. Yeah, I don't really have a toaster, so it goes in the frying pan. And like I said, the frying pan, now you don't need to put anything in it if you're going to peanut butter it. But you can put butter or olive oil on the bottom of the pan and cook it and then turn it over. So I always lay it in and then let it cook for a minute or two, and then I turn it over. It's more fun than a toaster. And then I turn it, and I don't need it. I'll put olive oil, it tastes great, or butter, or whatever. So yeah, you don't really need it, but it is very tasty. And sometimes I'll put, like if I get chicken from the deli where the slices, I'll take the pita and I'll put the hot mustard on it and spread it on. Then I put a couple, 2-3 slices of the chicken. Then I fold it over. Then I cut it in half. So I got like 2 little sandwiches with the hot mustard and the deli chicken or turkey. Tastes great. Very, very tasty. So you can do that. You can put tuna in it. Tuna with that really goes well. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Just stay away from the carbs and the sugars, the high fructose corn syrup. Just switch to Ken's dressing from Wishbone and Kraft. Kraft's notorious for that high fructose corn syrup. They're trying to kill everybody. Like, what are you doing? You're killing all your customers. You're giving them all diabetes. So then you want a lot of water, a lot of coffee and tea. Put lemon and cinnamon in it. Ginger, but be careful. Again, be careful with Bitcoin. It's a scam. I know people, I can make all this money. It's a scam. So yes, you could make it, as you made in Madoff. People made a lot of money in Madoff, especially the scammers. They made a lot of money in Madoff. But just be careful. If you can't figure out how they're pricing it, don't get involved with it. We know gold is being held down by COMEX, but we know it's going to break loose, and then hopefully it just goes to a supply and demand. We know the Montana rookie card, that's free market. That's what we want in gold and silver, is free market. Then we'll really see a price. But too many people want gold. There's too much of a demand. There's too much of an incentive for the price to go up. Because if you have you think Putin wants the price to go down? He's got 35,000 tons of it. I mean, he has one thing. Let's get that price going up, as does China. So that's really the key to it. So keep that in mind. I'm so excited with mine. I always get excited with this because I know it's worth so much more than I paid. And I know it's gold, and there's just something about gold. When you buy it, you're just like so excited. It like makes your day. And I can't explain. This is why it's hard for me to work, because I know if I work for, if they're not understanding gold, I just think they're idiots, and I go like, I can't work for you. And I keep going, well, I don't need to because soon I'll be able to retire on my gold and you'll still be working because your money will be worthless. And that's the biggest pet peeve. So you tell those girls, Bobby, good, you keep holding dollars and you'll, when it goes to zero, then, and they'll, how can it go to zero? Because they're printing it and the wars and everything else. So keep that in mind. All right. So that's about it. We'll go more into football tomorrow. We'll look at it. What's today? Wednesday. So again, the free plays Detroit over. LA will rip their secondary apart. Detroit should score on the Rams. Just watch for Aaron Donald, though. Detroit's not going to be able to run on them. Dallas, Green Bay. I think Dallas wins. I think it goes over, but I'm scared. I'm scared of Micah Parsons. And then the cold weather games are got to be unders. You can't. What are you going to get in the KC game? 15 points. I mean, Miami's not going to play in 9 degrees with a 15-mile-an-hour wind. What's Miami going to do? They'll be crying, I'm cold. And so will the KC guys. And then Buffalo, Pitt. They're both good defenses, and they're 27-mile-an-hour wind. They're not going to do shit. So keep that in mind. Cleveland, Houston, I have no idea. I don't trust either team. Cleveland's probably the better team, or at least they look like it. I'll have to dig into their games, but stats-wise, Flacco's only 13-8. It's not like he's 13-0. He's no Penix. All right, everybody. I will talk to you tomorrow. www.teaserking.com. I have one lock posted. I have a couple plays posted for this week. My guy's looking into. He finally got in, so he's looking into the addition of the history because it's not working. And so I told him this doesn't look right. So he's digging in. So I got to review it. And that's about it. So have a good night. Buy your gold before you can't. We see what Bricks is doing. So just follow Putin. Do what he does. Well, not the wars, but have a basement full of gold or a swimming pool full of gold. Do what the big fella does. All right, everybody. Have a good day. And I will talk to you tomorrow. It should be earlier. I got my haircut and the gold store, so I won't be doing that tomorrow. They're all excited to see me when I come in there. Where have you been? What's going on? And so I trade them because they don't really know what's going on. So I kind of tell them, and they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, the professor knows." All right. Have a nice day. www.teaserking.com. Bobby, if you need the girls, just have the girls watch, or I can do a short one. I did one on the Titanic. Have them watch that one. Probably be the best. But I'll do another where I'm really just gold versus the dollar, 10 minutes. So people like that can just watch it and go, okay. Because I do so many subjects here that you got to find the gold part of it. Usually I do all the football together. So today was football and then the economics part. So, all right. So take care. All right. Have a nice day.